This Real Agriculture podcast is brought to you by Genesis Fertilizers. Nitrogen fertilizer is your farm's #1 expense. Farmers are working together through Genesis Fertilizers to solve the problem of high prices and security of supply by planning a state-of-the-art nitrogen plant. Security and earnings through ownership is the solution. Visit Genesis today at genesisfertilizers.com to learn more.
Hi, I'm Bernard Taub. Welcome to Real Agriculture. Today I'm down at the Ontario Agricultural Conference and we're going to talk formulation. Herbicides, fungicides, and who better to talk to than Dr. Doug Baumann from Vive Crop Protection. Sir, how's it going?
Great, Bern. Thanks for the invite.
Hey, tell us a little bit about Vive.
I mean, quite frankly, Vive is Canada's best kept secret in the crop protection industry. We've been around for 17 years, headquartered in Mississauga, but just started selling our products in Canada in 2023. Based on PMRA registered nanotechnology.
Yeah. Hey, tell us about formulations here. I mean, do they matter? When do they matter? What do you tell people when they ask that question?
Well, quite frankly, there are active ingredients out there that wouldn't be a product if not for the formulation they are in. You know, the actives would sit on the leaf, sit on the pest until they biodegraded without ever giving you the control you paid for. It's really the formulation that opens the doorway that gets the active into the plant where it can do its job. And that's really the bare minimum. The when they matter is when you think about what extra features you want beyond just plain efficacy. So a great one would be fertilizer compatibility. If you want fertilizer compatibility with a product, that's normally an extra feature that's going to be built in, and it's driven by the formulation.
Awesome. Let's talk about some of the, the formulations you talked about here today and how we can reformulate, product for benefits. And the first one you talked about was, formulating for performance and crop safety. And that's an interesting when you look at two products like Liberty and glufosinate.
Right. Yeah, so a product like Liberty is glufosinate ammonium, and there's also glufosinate ammoniums on the market made by other companies. What makes Liberty special, and specifically on lamb's quarters, is that the original developer of Liberty has figured out how to give you efficacy on lamb's quarters without heating up the herbicide on soy. And if you want to heat up the product on everything, like a non-selective herbicide, that's not so hard, but giving an extra boost on lamb's quarters control and remaining crop safe, that's the power of a formulation.
Awesome. Another formulation is, managing environmental impact. And a product like dicamba has been around a long time. You talked about that today in the presentation. But it's been reformulated and has a new purpose and a new life.
Well, you couldn't have said it better. Dicamba is older than you and me combined, right? I mean, we saw today it was first synthesized in the 1940s. And over that time, from about the 1960s when it became the first use in agriculture, all the way to now, that dicamba acid has had about 5 different dance partners, 5 different counterions, and those counterions come from the formulation, and they make dicamba a completely different and improved version of itself.
Right. So anyway, that's an example of how you can work with one product. You can also build broadest control with a formulation that brings many products together.
Right. So when I think about herbicides and broad control, I mean, the spectrum I want out of a herbicide is huge. And when I think about modern active ingredients, their individual spectrum is normally starting to get more narrow, partially due to environmental regulations. So the way you build a great product is you stack multiple different herbicides together in the same product, multiple modes of effective action, which we've heard about before. And so by building a product with 4 or 5 different AIs in it, you're getting way more bang for the buck and that single pass convenience without the risk of a tank mix going south on you. And that again is the power of a formulation.
And you can also include fertilizer into that formulation, right? Bringing products together on that list.
Well, and we gave 2 examples today about fertilizer. One was Acuron with fertilizer, for example, 28%, and that product works well in that carrier mix. But then there are cases where the fertilizer you're applying, say an in-furrow fertilizer, is a really heavy fertilizer. So 1030-40 and others with a lot of micronutrients, those fertilizers can be so heavy that the only way a traditional crop protection formulation can be mixed, you have to dilute the water. You have to dilute that fertilizer with water, and then your planting productivity goes down. Enter Vive with our line of fertilizer compatible products. Now there isn't a fertilizer I'm aware of that we cannot mix a Vive product with directly without any additional water. The example I showed today was about 8 different fertilizers with our Asteroid FC product mixed, and that's stable for days and days.
Okay, final question for you, and that is, how farmers should think about formulations, the questions they need to ask. And what do you say? Is it you look at all the formulations? You've got different products stacked up, different brands and different features. What do you need to ask yourself as a farmer? The feature that you need, is that what you're looking for?
Yeah, I mean, really, that's what it comes down to. If I have the spectrum that I want, be that disease or weed control, there's a price I'm willing to pay for that. But then when I go higher and higher in price, maybe it's a company that I know or it's a new entrant to the market, my question to you is, what do you get for that price? And do you need that all the time? Now, I have in my basement 5 different types of white paint with 5 different price points. Why? They're all white paint, but they do different things, and I use the right one for the right job. So when I want fertilizer compatibility, I would be buying a product built specifically for that.
And you can look at that. You can take that sort of same approach to a whole line of products at your ag retailer.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
Make sure you get what you pay for and know what you've asked for.
Awesome. Doug, great chat. Formulation, sir. Thank you for stopping by. Always great to have you on Real Agriculture.
Thank you, Bern. Good to see you again.